I wanted to go ahead and revisit everything going on with Bill Belichick. And we listen. This set the world ablaze, the sports world ablaze. People were offended that Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. A lot of people don't even remember that coaches used to have to wait 5 years too, but they changed the rules. I want to say last year to where coaches only have to wait 1 year. So it was a slam dunk that Bill Belichick was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The news came out that he wasn't. It was leaked. I didn't even, bruh. It was so shocking. It wasn't the Luka Doncic trade shocking, but when I saw the news, I had to make sure that it was not a hacked page. It was not NBA Central or NFL Central, one of those. I'm like, huh? I don't even, what are you talking about, bro? Like it was so crazy when I saw it from Adam Schefter. I thought Adam Schefter was giving his opinion. And I literally said this out loud. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is Adam Schefter talking about, bro? What kind of dumbass opinion is that? I reread the tweet and it wasn't an opinion. He was breaking news. He was giving information. And then I'm like, what?
Yep.
Huh? How? I, like many people across the world, across the nation, I should say, had the same idea. So naturally, people want answers. And when people want answers, they're going to get it. There was reporting that was done. This was a big story. Don Vanatta and Seth Wickersham. And if you know either of those names, those are the guys when it comes to NFL specifically sports reporting. Their word is law. Their word is Bible. So when it was reported, that 11 people, at minimum 11 people, did not vote for Bill Belichick to be voted in on first ballot, people wanted to know why. And the first thing that happened, or the first bit of news, or the first thing that was leaked, was that the mastermind, the evil genius himself, Bill Polian, was the one who led this group of men on a crusade against Bill Belichick to say, no, Bill Belichick, you will not get in on the first ballot because you did Spygate. People were down old ass Bill Polian's neck and putting belts of ass for 3 goddamn days straight, myself included. Sorry, Bill Polian, because let's may come to find out you ain't had nothing to do with that.
Bro, he was scapegoated so hard.
It was bad because he was the perfect conduit. He was the perfect villain. He was the guy that he was the person on the receiving end of losing playoff game after playoff game after playoff game and championship after championship after championship. So of course everybody naturally thought that it had to be Bill Polian. Like, yeah, it checked out. That story lines up. Obviously, we feel like he has an axe to grind. So that's all we needed. We just needed a little bit of some bait, and we was hooked. We was hooked. We was on that fishing rod, baby.
That's
And
it.
we came up. Problem is, and again, we are about integrity. We are about what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. That's why we do this show. If Bill Polian had nothing to do with it, Bill Polian should not have gotten. And again, we're a society where nobody's gonna say sorry. Nobody's saying sorry to Bill Polian. Nobody is saying sorry to Bill Polian for absolutely kicking his back in for 3 days to the point where
Being loud and wrong
being loud
about
and
it.
wrong. Because nobody wants to be loud and wrong. It's easier to just say, well, whatever, versus saying, oh, my bad, we got it wrong. The apology is never as loud as the accusations. I'm sorry, Bill Polian. And again, we didn't even have a video, so we didn't even really get to talk about Bill Polian like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we did it, all of this information wasn't out there. So the irony in all of this is that based off of 2 voters who did not vote for Bill Belichick, who put their name on it, who stood on business, who had the courage to, put their name on it, it really just seems like a lot of people were just like, oh, Bill's getting in, so I'm going to use my vote for somebody else. And multiple people did that to the point where it actually affected Bill Belichick.
That is one of the funniest things that happened. And you know what, Herbie? I'll tell you because, when I first heard the news, I had 2 different feelings about it. And I laughed because my laughter was accurate for both ways that I felt. As a Dolphin fan, because I'll get that out the way first, Herbie, I was amused.
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, this couldn't happen to a nicer guy. because years, Herbie, being tormented by this man as a head coach, watching his team dominate the AFC East and go on to win Super Bowls, Herbie. So the fact that these guys just decided to stick it to him, and it turns out that it wasn't intentional, actually. But at the time, when I first heard the news, I was like, wow, they really tried to keep Bill out as on the first ballot, an 8-time Super Bowl champion, when you consider
yeah,
his days as a coordinator as well, a guy who's second in wins, and he's and listen, if he ever decides to go back to the NFL, he could likely overcome that. Like Herbie, like Bill Belichick's resume is so great, it's preposterous that he can't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Tom Landry was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Don Shula was a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't tell me Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, Herbie. Which is why the second thing that made me laugh was I realized exactly who the voters associate, like who the voters are, Herbie. They're just the player haters ball from the
player haters
Chappelle
ball,
show. Like
100%.
straight up. Like that's who they are, Herbie. Herbie. What these niggas pulled was essentially the Montreal screw job of the NFL. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like that's what they did. At least that's what it felt like at the time before we got all the details. Like it just seemed like dude, you can't deny. Like Herbie, if this guy's not first ballot, who's first ballot? Right? It almost
And
makes you feel justified for T.O. saying F you, I'm not even showing up.
right, and I love that you brought To up because that's a segue. So I want to say the To point because that's a bigger point and just to bring home the whole thing, right? But before we
Right.
get to that, I want to go ahead and add some more. I want to add more colors to the conversation. I have a couple of quotes from Bill Belichick, and I have a couple quotes from the two voters who stood on business and was like, you know what, I'm finna stand on business and say, and say what it is. So for Bill Polian, right? This is his son. This is what his son wrote on Twitter. My father is a public figure and polarizing. I understand and accept that. However, what has happened to my father over the last couple of days is not right. The facts and the truth are important. That and then this is Bill Polian speaking with Sports Illustrated. That's totally and categorically untrue. I voted for him. Like, could you imagine me an old ass Bill Polian, old ass 83-year-old Bill Polian? Your whole life is just like you've been unbothered. You've been catching strays since you said Lamar Jackson is supposed to be a wide receiver, right? Like you've been catching big like strays. You finally dodged that. You finally got over that. You finally got over that because Lamar Jackson's been so good. You've been laying low, like you've been ducking time bombs and stuff like this for like 2 years, and then this happens, and it is not true. Like the Hall of Fame committee had to come out and say we literally seen Bill Polian vote for Bill Belichick. We don't know where that story came from.
Herbie, if there's anybody that was gonna vote for him, it's the guy that kicked his ass for years. There's a certain level of respect you gain for somebody who has bested you time after time after time.
Absolutely. Right. And again, Bill Polian, because he got his ass kicked for years, it made for the perfect villain for the story. Everybody needs a villain to the story, right?
Right.
But, and again, this is what it is. I quote, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has confirmed the fact through the auditors of the selection process. Again, I'll state, I never said I believe that Coach Belichick should have to wait a year for enshrinement. That has been confirmed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Numerous selectors were in the room, and my vote for Coach Belichick saw my vote. This is crazy. The fact that you have to do this is that's how much of that's how big it got. That's how mad people were that these are things that are supposed to be anonymous. These conversations are not, we're not supposed to know this. We're not supposed to know about the process. But because the outrage was so huge, it's so outsized, it's so crazy, it had to get to this point where we're getting to know the inner workings of a Hall of Fame process, right? Like it wasn't going to be like this for T.O. because nobody likes fucking T.O. A lot of people don't like Bill Belichick, but a lot of people understand it's still 6 Super Bowls, right? But here goes the two voters who are wanted to stand on business or whatever. So this is Vahi Grigorin. He's out of the Kansas City. He's a writer from Kansas City. At the risk of contradicting my own vote, Belichick shouldn't have to wait. I understand why people are offended that he isn't going in the first moment he can. I felt more compelled by what I perceived to be last chances for other guys that were up. And that has basically been the sentiment for the people who've been coming out, right? And here go the other guy, Mike Chappelle. As one of the 50 selectors, I voted for Robert Kraft, the longtime and accomplished New England Patriots owner. I did not vote against Bill Belichick, the longtime and accomplished head coach of that dynasty. I realize that's a difference without a distinction, but I'm comfortable with my decision. Now, this same person brought up Spygate and yada, yada, yada. It was like, blah, 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 Spygate. It did bother me. And this is the part of the conversation that bothers me personally. If Spygate bothers you, then don't let him in. You can't have it both ways. If it bothers you, then don't vote for him ever. Don't say you have to wait. Don't try to tap him on the shoulder. Don't try to give him a spanking. It's fucking irrelevant. If it's cut and dry. It's either Spygate bothers me and you're not getting in, or it's the guy with 6 rings, dog.
But you know what? And I hate having to go to bat for fuck the Patriots, okay?
Right, of course.
You know what I'm saying? I just had to put that on the front end. But Herbie, these dudes they had the Spygate situation and then they went on to go 17-0. Shut the hell up! Like, stop! Herbie, if you're going to condemn Belichick for Spygate and Deflategate, when Tom Brady's up, you're going to tell me he's not making first ballot? Herbie, if Tom Brady, first of all, it's already a mockery of the Hall of Fame that Bill Belichick's not first ballot.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that I have to say that, Herbie. I enjoyed the fact at first that he didn't get in, and then the football fan in me is like, well, shit, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, they lose all credibility. Mm-hmm. Because how can the best coach, or if you do not feel he is the best coach based on, he had Tom Brady and yada, 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 and he had LT when he was a defensive coordinator. Got you. He's the most accomplished, Herbie. You can't argue that. You cannot argue that. And if the most accomplished coach, and what do we do this for? What does anybody do anything for? Accomplishments, Herbie, especially in sports. So you mean to tell me the most accomplished coach in sports doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because of Spygate? So you're going to tell me that the 7-time quarterback, 7-time champion, you're going to tell me Tom Brady's not first? If Tom Brady doesn't make first ballot, you might as well tell down the Hall of Fame.
That's another thing. Now, the reason why you can't use that because you're not holding that against Tom Brady. Everybody knows that.
100%.
Like, 100%. Even the same guy who's holding it against, who's specifically Mike Chappell, because the Vahi guy didn't bring up Spygate. The Mike Chappell guy, and I'm sure he's not the only one that of the at least 11 people that did not vote for Bill Belichick feels this way. If you are going to reference Spygate, then you can't say I voted for Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft benefited from Spygate too. What are you talking about? Crazy. So it literally doesn't make sense
at all.
So it is, and this is the biggest issue. It is if Robert Kraft is on the senior committee list. Basically, the senior committee this is your last chance to make it. If he got to that point and he's not going to make it, then tough luck. If he's up against Bill Belichick, then tough luck, dog. Tough luck. It's not your job to try to say, well, let me help this guy in. No, your job is to vote on who deserves to be in this position the most. Bill Belichick obviously deserves to be ahead of the line of Robert Kraft. If Robert Kraft got to that point, then tough luck, dog. He shouldn't have gotten if he got to anybody that gets to the senior committee. Roger Craig. The other guy said I voted for Roger Craig because I felt like Bill Belichick was going to get in, so I wanted to use my vote for somebody else. It's not your job, dog. We don't take the cape off, dog. You don't get paid to put a cape on, bro. You get paid to make the right decision. If it's Bill Belichick or Roger Craig, it's fucking Bill Belichick, dog. Take your emotions out this, bro. We don't need that sappy shit, bro. I'm sorry. We didn't put you. You are one of the 50 people that have the privilege to do this. It ain't your job to try to say, hey, let me, give one for Roger Craig or whoever or anybody else who made it to the senior committee and this is their last chance to ever get in the line. I feel you. It has to be devastating. But that's the point of the Hall of Fame. If they were good enough, they would have never got to the senior committee.
Right.
So it was truly just a confluence of a lot of different factors. People who just were convinced that he was going to get in and was like, I got votes to spare, which was ironically and hilariously wrong in hindsight. People who were trying to, send a message and just they take their job, like, shit, get off your high horse. And then timing with other people and again, I will be fair. If you truly believe that Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are equals, I can see how you could get to saying I'm voting for Robert Kraft because he was the architect, whatever. But it's still 6. Like you have to be consistent. You have to let the Spygate go against Robert Kraft too, and you gotta let it go against Tom Brady.
Which
And
is
this
why
is where,
such
yeah,
a terrible argument. Like
and
that, it annoys me.
nah, for real, and that's what takes me to the To point, right? And ultimately, T.O. was right. T.O. was right to call them out in 2017 when they did not let him in on the first ballot. And they made T.O. wait 3 years. That is the most hater shit that we've ever seen. T.O. is inarguably a top 5 wide receiver of all time.
All time.
He was supposed to be first ballot. And this is what T.O. said. Where the hell was this when they violated these bylaws when it came to me in 2016 and 2017? You freaking right. Like the Hall of Fame had to make and he's referencing a statement that the Hall of Fame had to put out. He's like, bro, why you? I'm not worthy of that. You're T.O. Like, yes, you should be worthy. The problem is that you're T.O. and this is Bill Belichick. And I don't mean that like Bill Belichick is higher than you. I mean, what country are we in? And be effing for real.
Right, don't be surprised, yo. Don't be surprised.
Do not be surprised. Dro, what up, baby? What up? Don't be surprised. But T.O. was right. It is about who they liked and who kissed their ass and who placated them. And if you were somebody, these are a lot of these dudes are losers for real. Like these are dudes that got stuffed in lockers, dog. And they waited their entire lives to take that power back and say, no, T.O., you're gonna bend the knee and we're gonna embarrass you for 3 straight years. And then we're gonna justify this by saying, well, Michael Irvin didn't make it first ballot. He's better than Michael Irvin. What are you talking about?
Herbie,
Calvin Johnson was a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not better than T.O.
No. Nah. And I love Megatron. No.
We all love Megatron.
But no.
We all love Megatron. He's not better than T.O. Like, the fact that they want, like, this was some hating ass shit. This was people that could not stand. Because I'll put it like this. If Bill Belichick was a nice person and was great to the media and had Spygate, this doesn't happen. So don't talk to me about Spygate. Y'all just some haters. Y'all haters.
That's why I love what T.O. did, bro. When he had his moment, and I know like when you go back, the media reamed him for it. You had people like even Shannon Sharp was saying how disappointed he was, and I can understand why Shannon or a person of Shannon's ilk was disappointed because they vouched for.
Well, let me specify for the people that's in the chat that might not understand. Shannon and a lot of people in the Hall of Fame were trying to explain to T.O. that the Hall of Fame voters and the Hall of Fame have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
And he was trying to, and a lot of people in the Hall of Fame who've been there and been to Canton was trying to tell T.O. like, no, F the Hall of Fame voters. That's not about them. It's about the camaraderie. It's about seeing all these other Hall of Famers. They ain't got nothing to do with us.
It's like 50 people who never played a lick of football, bro.
Yeah. And it was like, and T.O. was taking it out on everybody. So a lot of Hall of Famers were trying to tell T.O., once you're in, and it's irrelevant. Because it's ours. They didn't, those voters ain't got to do it. But T.O. was like, fuck everybody. Right? So I just wanted to go ahead and clarify that. No, go ahead, Rod. I want you to finish.
Oh, no. So, yeah. Anyway, when it came down to it, Herbie,
No, you were saying that with Shannon Sharp and everybody was mad at Shannon Sharp, mad at To. So I want you to
Oh
finish that
no,
point.
yeah. So everybody was upset with To at the time when he decided not to show up to celebrate at the Hall of Fame. But Herbie, he was right. He
Yeah,
had every right to stick it to those people. And the one thing I've always liked about To Herbie, the one thing that really has always made me a fan of him, Herbie. There's something, and it's not just him. I'm a fan of people who are not. They don't need your validation, bro.
yeah,
They, they
facts.
don't. They don't like. At the end of the day, I love the fact that To claimed his own power, despite the fact that they robbed him of what was rightfully his. You know what he did, Herbie? When he had the opportunity, he didn't bow his head. He didn't say, "I'm thankful to finally be here." He said, "Nah, f you. I'm gonna have a celebration with my people.
My
I
people,
don't need nobody else because I know the
Tennessee
people
and
who's rocking with me."
Chattanooga. I'm
Yeah,
going back to my JUCO college where I got my first shot, and I'm gonna hold a Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm gonna wear my gold jacket at Tennessee and Chattanooga. Like he took the power,
yep.
right? And it's like he was right. Now, granted, people were like, "Man, that's corny. That's lame." No, he was right. He took the power. Like
I
he
respect it.
didn't give them the validation of allowing them to. He didn't beg them. Right. That's all they wanted. They wanted To to beg to be in the Hall of Fame. They wanted. It got to the point where it was getting so bad. Trust me, if they could, they probably would have kept To for like 4 or 5 years. They really wanted to. It just got so outlandish that 3 years went by that they couldn't keep getting away with it.
Right.
Like you could say, okay, the first ballot, second ballot, now we wildin'.
Yeah.
Now you can't do this again. Like I'm pretty sure people had to. There was people from the outside that was like, you have to put To through. And To, because he, like you said, he didn't know nobody validation. He ain't kissed their ass. He didn't say, "Oh, thank you." He didn't say sorry. He said, "Man, fuck y'all, bro." Like,
Straight up.
straight
Bro, they
up.
put their fingers in his mouth, bro. Never let anybody put their fingers in your mouth. Fuck
No,
you. Get
like for
out of here.
real, right?
Get
And
out of here.
and and it's just sad that it took Bill Belichick for people to truly realize what is going on with the Hall of Fame committee. And again, I want people to specify. Like, I'm gonna show it again because Dro hit it on the head. Hall of Fame committee. The Hall of Fame committee and the Hall of Fame are two different things. They're two different entities. The Hall of Fame is the museum. The committee is the committee. The committee is full of people that might just be some fucking haters. The Hall of Fame is just its own thing. But the Hall of Fame committee has people that are voting for people that they like, not necessarily people that they should be in, and keeping people that should be in out based off of how they dealt with the media. And this is their opportunity to effing get their lick back. This is from I can't remember his name, but I forgot to have it. It's Gene Jock something, right? He's a reporter, longtime reporter for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a quote from him in regards to To. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but the odds of happening are slim because To turned folks off with his constant complaints about not getting the ball and the perception that he wasn't a good teammate.
So
Nigga, what the fuck they got to do with anything,
shut the
bro?
hell up.
And
Who
again, that
cares?
wasn't Gene Jack. That was just him because he knew what was going on. So I don't want
Right.
him to. Yeah, that was him just keeping a buck, keeping it 100. Like, yeah, this is what it's gonna be. And this was when 2016 when To was first up. So it now because this gotten so blown out of proportion, rightfully so, everything is changing. Like everything is changing.
Well,
Yeah, everything is changing.
Herbie, they took a massive hit to their credibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, you can't have the most, even if you don't think he's the greatest. If you don't want to use that terminology, fine. The most accomplished coach of all time is not first ballot? Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
yeah, for
Get out of
sure.
here.